In this video, I'm going to be going over something called support and resistance. And this is really like the basics of all basics. So there's indicators, which, again, to recap what indicators are, is this button on the top, where, again, it's just a bunch of things you can add to your chart that kind of help you read the patterns a little bit. But again, like I said, I don't like indicators. They're all lagging, and they're not going to help you in the long run. Again, they're good to look at when you're first starting, but again, you're going to realize they're not going to help in the long run. So support and resistance is not an indicator, but you can actually probably find a lot of indicators on this. So support, so like if I type in support and resistance levels, let's just pull up a few of these. So what you're going to notice is a lot of the support it's marking is basically the lows and highs. So just I'm gonna tell you guys what support and resistance is. So all it is think of the word support. What support mean? Support means, in terms of price, it just means when price is holding a certain level or a line. So again, if we have a line right here, what support means is price will tap that support and just bounce a few times and just keep bouncing off that. And this is where a lot of newer traders are like, oh, we bounced off here 50 times, I'm going to keep buying when we hit it. And they'll buy, and then they'll buy, whatever. And that's just basics of support. Now, resistance is just the opposite. So resistance is when we keep hitting a certain level and just rejecting off that level. So this could be like a resistance line, and it's just basically a line where it's very tough for price to get by. And yeah, that's really the basics of support and resistance. I'm just gonna go over some examples and show you guys some obviously examples, but again, resistance is when we resist to get something, like resist to get through something. Support is when we, like, price is very, very supported by the same level 50 times. So when we look at these indicators, I'm just going to look at one for now. This indicator is interesting. This indicator is actually marking all the highs and lows of support and resistance. Now, the interesting thing about this is a peak or a dip truly support? And the short answer is no, it's not. Without looking at an indicator, something to me that would look like support is a level or a line that's been touched a couple times and we keep holding it. So to me, like, a support level to me looks like right, I would say right here, because you can see price kind of breaks this line here, dips below, holds here, kind of holds here. I mean, the price does wick below it, but overall the bodies do hold. And that's what I mean. Remember what I said at the beginning of the course? Bodies tell you everything. So like if we ever wick below something, but like the open of the bodies hold the line, that's actually a good sign. Same thing here. We kind of hold it, and then finally after a million times you kind of break it again. But generally speaking, I would consider this true support because we truly bounce off it a few times. Now, this is why indicators suck, especially support and resistance one, because all this is doing is literally marking every single dump and every single high, right? I could do that without an indicator. I could literally just go around and mark this high and be like, oh, this is support. But is it really support? Or, I mean, this is resistance, but is it truly resistance? No. Price just breaks through it again, right? So when you look at these support and resistance levels, this indicator is not going to help you. It's just, I mean, maybe this would be true support. So see how we form this blue line, and the next time we kind of tap that blue line, look what happens. We bounce off it again. Okay, and we do not trade off support and resistance, but you need to understand this in order to know how to trade, and you'll know what I mean later in the course. But it's very basic. Again, it's just when price bounces off the same level. So if you look to the right, this level would be 17,792.25, and price just tends to bounce off around this level a couple times. So we just know that's an area where if price comes to it, look for buy signal or buy, right? Or again, and then same thing with resistance. Honestly, to me, like, this actually wouldn't be bad resistance. I mean, it's more kind of a zone more than anything. But if you draw a single line, I mean, kind of a lot of times where price touches here, we don't really quite touch here, don't quite touch here, but like here, we just reject it a lot. So I'd more probably consider this as a resistance zone, not like a resistance line. We can see every time price comes up there, we kind of tap it and then we just go down. So that's an example of support and resistance. Again, you can go back in time and look for, like, this would be resistance right here. See how price touches but rejects, touches, rejects, touches, rejects. I mean, there's just a lot of examples. Again, this is where the volume starts to drop off. But yeah, support and resistance is very, very important to understand when you're starting, because it's actually how to not trade, and you're gonna understand what I mean. Um, you'll I can't wait till you guys watch this whole free thing, and then I'm gonna teach you, yeah, don't trade like this, and you're gonna realize why it's so bad. So this is what all the trading books teach. Like, what I'm teaching you now is what all the trading books teach. They're like, oh, this is support, short it, or this is or that was resistance, short it. This is support, long it. Now, if we think this is support and I want to long here, and we think this is resistance and I don't want to keep shorting here, this is going to be foreshadowing what you will eventually learn. But look what happens. We reject, 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 and then boom, right through it. We bounce, 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 and then boom, right through it. And this means something when we create a support line, because price will end up attracting to the support line and actually breaking it. And why? Because it's what all the books teach to do. The books teach to buy off of this. And what people do is they buy off of it, they get wrecked because that's what the books tell them to do, and then we go back up. And you're going to want to see that and know that for the future, but I'm going to explain this a lot more in depth. Same thing with here. What are people going to do right here? What are the idiots going to do right here? They're going to short it because they don't know any better. That's what all the books and all the courses teach them. And they're going to short this line, right? And they're going to get wrecked. So this is just foreshadowing what I'm going to teach you. But for now, just you should understand basic support and resistance. All it is it's a line in price where price tends to reject off of a lot, or price tends to bounce off a lot. Okay, simple as that. Now, if I turn on maybe this indicator, let's see if this is any better. Yeah, this isn't really any better either. This, to me, this is just messy. It's just all a mess. This does not make any sense to me. I don't know how people use these indicators, but that just doesn't help me. Same thing with this one. I mean, this is not support and resistance. This is just marking the highs and lows. Right? Remember what I taught you guys what a swing high and swing low is? I mean, this is just marking swing highs and swing lows. So you got the 3 candle formation here where we get a high, higher high, then lower high. So that would be a swing high. And yeah, this just is all these are useless indicators. So again, you'll learn not to use indicators. But yeah, so that's support and resistance. So again, what most people do, like I said, is they'll look for they'll look for some sort of support. So let's just say this line is support, and let's say price is coming down to this level, and we think, oh, because price bounced off here, here, and here, we're going to bounce off it again. So you play price a little bit. We hit it. So I'm going to take a buy here because I see, okay, well, this is support. We should bounce. And we end up bouncing. And meanwhile, I'm up $400 right here. All right. 400. And yeah, you get the point. So that's kind of what support and resistance is. Again, you take buys and sells off them. And this is what a lot of retail traders are taught at first, and which is why a lot of people fail. Because eventually this will get destroyed through. And this is where a lot of people get wrecked. So, yeah, that's support and resistance. Same thing if we were to, like right here. So, let's say, see this really big zone. I'm like, hey, we're coming up to the zone. We rejected it a few times before, so I'm going to take a sell limit when we hit it. And I'm like, and then we play price. It's like, oh, let's go. We're rejecting. Oh, I'm going to take another sell limit. We reject it again. And meanwhile, I'm in profit. Again, that's just how people play it. They just take these zones where price tends to reject a lot, and they'll sell wherever for profit. And the biggest flaw of support and resistance is you don't know where to sell and buy. Like, you don't know where to sell or cover your position. So if I take a short off here, a lot of people don't understand where to actually buy back, or if you take a long setup or buy, a lot of people don't understand where to sell. And that's a big thing of what I'm going to be teaching later in this course, and why I used to watch ICT. But that was definitely my main struggle. I literally just buy randomly. Like I'd say I take a buy here and I just wouldn't know where to sell. I just sell at random spots. Sometimes I literally sold here and sometimes I just keep holding. Sometimes I would hold so long that I'm like, oh, I'm holding, we're going up, and then I'd sell down here because I'd get scared. And it's not a good way to trade. It's not going to teach you anything. You're going to get wrecked doing that. And people are going to give up because they don't know how to take profit. They don't know where the market should go. They don't know how the market should move. Support and resistance is not telling you how the market's going to move. Support and resistance is literally just a spot where price tends to bounce off of 50 times, but it doesn't teach you where to take profit. It doesn't teach you when to cover. It just doesn't teach you any of that. It's spot and price where price tends to reject or sell a lot, or reject or bounce off a lot. So yeah, that's really the basics of support resistance. There's not really much else to go over that with this. Just understand what it is, and this is actually going to go along with the next video where I'm going to explain orders. And I'm going to teach you why knowing what support and resistance is and why marking out these really obvious support levels are very important. Okay, so that is it for this video. Let me know if you guys have any questions. There should be, don't think there's anything I'm missing, but again, support and resistance is very explanatory. Again, there's 1,000 ways to explain it. Like if I go to YouTube right now, and I just type in support and resistance trading strategy, you got a guy with a freaking car in his thumbnail, dude. Like this makes me so mad. And yeah, you can just watch these. So it's just gonna be a bunch of the same videos and just like they're just gonna draw lines where price tends to bounce off a lot. Oh, I do want to go over this actually. One more thing. Support can turn into resistance and resistance can turn into support. So what do I mean by this? Well, here we see price reject a few different times. So we see price reject here, here, not really here, but here again. Now look what happens when you break it. See how this previous resistance where price was rejecting a lot now turns into support where we now bounce off it. So see how we go down from it, and then we break it, and now we're kind of we're using that as support. That might be another position where I might be like, oh, I'm going to buy. So let's say I see price reject from this line 3 times, and then I say, oh, now price is kind of breaking it a lot more. I'm going to take a buy here because now I think this should act as a bounce spot, right? And you can just see how nicely that works. So it's important to understand that as well. Same thing with support. Let's say this is support right here because price bounces off of it here, here, here. So price bounces off it in 3 different spots. So we know it's support. Now look, if I'm in replay mode and I think, oh, we got support here. But oh wait, we kind of broke through it here. I'm going to wait for us to retest it. Here's the retest. So I'm going to take a sell here. And because it was acting as support before, and now it should act as resistance. And then I sell wherever. And again, you don't know where to sell. And that's what I still got to teach that. But a lot of people, when they first start, they short, they make these really nice plays, and they just don't know where to sell or cover. And that's, again, if you're taking a short, this is called covering, not buying. You're basically covering the position you shorted because you're technically borrowing here. And again, I'll teach you that, obviously. Some people are going to understand that, but a lot of people when they enter the stock market, they think you can only buy. I short all the time. I sell all the time. I sell and buy, and you can make money both ways. So some people are like, how is he making money when the market's going down? It's because I'm taking the opposite position. I'm taking the opposite of a buy position. You can do that if you didn't know that already. But yeah, you can see this is support turned into resistance, and then again, vice versa. You can have support or resistance turn into support. So do some homework. Go back in the charts. Look for a bunch of examples where we bounce off the same price level a bunch of times, and look for more examples where we reject off the same price level a bunch of times. And see how many times you bounce and reject off it, and see what happens when you break it. Do we use it as support? Do we use it as resistance if we break it? Is it respected? How long is it respected? And again, getting that under your belt will just give you better, just make you a better trader. However, we do not trade like that. It's just good to know when you're starting off. So that's going to be a video on support and resistance. Again, pretty simplistic. Like I said, you can watch so many more videos. It just, I mean, these are probably all edited videos where they're probably pretty good. But again, it's the same concept. It's just even, like, look, it's just a line where on this thumbnail, it's where price rejects 50 million times. Same with support. It's just where price bounces a ton. So yeah, that's it for now. And peace.